there, Blazer fans. Thanks so much for joining us for our next edition of Blazer Insider. My name is Mark Ingram. I'm the Director of Athletics, and I have the pleasure today to be joined not only by our head cross-country coach, Matt Eshe, our head indoor volleyball coach, Amy Pauly, and that's right, two-time back-to-back conference champion head coach for mixed rifle, Coach Lori Goodwin. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining me. It's great seeing you. Would love to jump right in and just ask a couple of questions. I'm going to start with the champ, Coach Goodwin. You know, I know that it was March the 12th, and I was in Frisco, Texas at our basketball tournament, and learned through the conference office that we would be discontinuing or postponing all spring events. And I was curious to know where you were. It seems like maybe your championship had just been completed.
Yeah.
But would love to hear, where were you and how did you share that information with the team?
So I think we were one of the very fortunate teams that our season ended the weekend before all of this kind of came down and happened. So I was actually in my office, which I share with beach volleyball, and they were getting ready to go on a flight, I think to Stetson or somewhere, to compete. And we kept hearing things happening, and, you know, because athletics is just a family, we kind of know each other's business and where we're all going and what we're all doing. And so their students were coming in, my students were coming in, and I didn't have a formal meeting with my team. We just kind of sent out a group message to let them know. We had already talked about it the week before, that it was a possibility that everything would be a little bit different and they might have to go to the e-learning for the rest of the semester. And it was even talked about at our conference championship, because in shooting, only so many shooters can be on the line at one time. So everybody kind of knows each other and they all talk to each other. And so did you hear what your school's doing? Well, this is what we think our school's doing. And so they already kind of had a sense that something was coming.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure that's right, particularly given that you had multiple schools in the same location. That makes sense. All right, so Coach Pauly, your team, volleyball, was doing their off-season training, spring season. What was that like for you guys?
I was really bummed, honestly, because I felt like our was a time when we were really making some breakthroughs with like our communication and our competitiveness. And so I was just sad that I didn't get to continue that with them. But I was just in the office. We were planning on having practice the next day on that Friday. And instead we ended up calling a team meeting and saying, hey, as of right now, we can't do anything. So let's just take the morning off and go home for spring break, and we'll just keep talking about it kind of day by day. And I was like, just go relax right now. Like, there's so much going on though. Like, go enjoy your spring break and we'll figure the rest of it out later. And then ever since then, it's just been a lot of Zoom calls.
Yeah, right. No kidding. We're becoming experts at Zoom. All right, so Coach Eshe, I know you guys, cross country had completed itself in its season in the fall. You were through indoor, but your distance runners, I'm sure we're looking forward to an outdoor season, which got cut short. Talk about that a little bit and what that was like for the team. I'm sure it was difficult.
It was difficult. We we'd started to pay attention to social media and to just the reports coming out, as both coaches said, kind of heard from other coaches and colleagues that something might be coming down. And I think faster than anybody could actually expect. We we got the news that something was going to happen, especially for us. That weekend was the NCAA Indoor Championship. So all of a sudden, we were hearing that Harvard had pulled 2 of their athletes off the track at the champion. We were about to get on a flight to go to NCAA Indoors in Albuquerque, and they pulled them off. And that's when I think we kind of knew something was bad. But we still held practice as is. In the back of my mind, I quickly knew that I didn't know, but had a good feeling that we were done. That if Harvard's going to pull an athlete off the track, Michigan was going to pull their teams off the track. Those are programs that don't. We would have done the same thing. And so we didn't talk about it as a distant squad and we're a lot of the track team because our workouts are going to be 3, 4, 5 miles of length, where versus a couple laps around the track. No disrespect to my fellow track, we go for a while. And so in the morning we talked about. We didn't bring it up. All we said was, hey, there's some things going on. We're not sure about what's happening. As of right now, though, we're getting ready to go on spring break for a couple days in Birmingham, and then we were about to host the first ever high school and track and field meets in the history of the school that weekend, the following weekend. So we were, as a staff, we're getting ready for that stuff. But again, Amy mentioned the team really making breakthroughs, and we actually on Friday we got to practice. Nobody really knew what was going to happen. I think we all had an idea what was going to happen that afternoon. We hadn't gotten a call yet, of course, from administration because you guys didn't have a final word on what was going to happen. So we were all waiting. And the brilliant thing was I put the girls through a time trial, a quick simulated time trial. We did 1,000 hard and then a 500 hard. And out of the 14 or the 15 distance girls that ran it, 8 of them would have run PRs. And so I knew for a fact that we were ready to roll, but we took it as a step-by-step, day-by-day. And then we told the team after, we told the team there was a lot of tears and a lot of upsetness. And I didn't say much because unfortunately, I'd already said my senior goodbyes to a couple of my seniors at practice, which I tend to do and keep things very quiet. I don't like to show much emotion with that stuff. So, but it was tough for all the kids. There's no questions about that.
Yeah, I'm sure that it was. And that track meet that you're referring to that we were going to host on campus, our first ever, my son was going to compete in that event. And he was looking forward to it, and I was looking forward to seeing him do it and being a part of that as well. So, he was heartbroken for all the same reasons that you guys were. So now I'm curious, Coach Pauly, what have you been doing with your team? And I know we've finished a great semester academically across the board, but especially in volleyball. And but what have you been doing to keep your team engaged and that kind of thing?
Yeah, in the beginning, like I said, I kind of, with everything going on, I didn't want to overwhelm them. And so we put a big emphasis on just adjusting to the e-learning first and getting all their tutors in and any, study hall that they might still have online. And I think that paid off because we had a 3.51 GPA this semester. They did a really good job of adjusting to that. But on top of it, as I said, we were making some breakthroughs with our just competitiveness. And so we kept creating little ways to have team competitions. So the last one we did, we split our team up into 3 groups, and then they had to make a playlist for their workouts that they've been voluntarily doing together. But they listened to the playlist and then they would send a score in. So just little ways to keep them competing against each other and wanting to beat one another. So a lot of that stuff, we're reading a book together called Legacy. We're doing that 1 chapter a week. And again, it's just about buying communication and accountability with each other. And now, since school is over, we've really picked back up in the film aspect of it. So we're watching film of ourselves. We're watching film of conference championships, across the board, and really just saying, hey, it's the only way we can feed our minds with volleyball right now, and another way that we can learn and grow and try to get a leg up on people, because it's up to us how hard we're working. I can't force them to do a lot of stuff right now. And so how can we kind of instill that in them, that they still want to be the best, even though they're having to do some of this stuff on their own?
Yeah. No, those are all great. How about you, Coach? Coach Goodwin, what do you have going on with the team these days?
They've really just been doing their individual workouts, hopefully doing what they're supposed to be doing. Um, they concentrated a lot, like Amy's team. We first started on the e-learning, getting everything where they needed to be. But rifle's such an individual sport. A lot of my students either have an area at their house where they can go ahead and just practice. If it's anything, I mean, just standing in the living room, holding the rifle, making sure that your position is right. Um, they've just been doing that kind of thing. A lot of them have a little system. It's called a scat. It's like a little camera that fits on the end of the rifle. And it doesn't matter where you are as long as you can make it whatever distance you need to, and you can kind of practice in your house. So they've
Yeah,
been doing a lot of that.
yeah, that's interesting. You've almost answered my next question to you, which was, given that a lot of facilities have been closed in terms of, gun ranges, I was wondering if they were able to do that and how. So you're saying a lot of the kids have their own kind of short air rifle range at maybe in their backyard, that kind of thing?
Or in their, yeah, some of them are in their basement,
Yeah.
or down a hallway. You can, there's different things that you can do. And a lot of it is just practicing a position, which you can kind of do anywhere,
Yeah.
and holding the rifle, making sure that you have that muscle memory going. And
Yeah.
this year we did a lot with mental training.
Mm-hmm.
So I think mentally they were good going into all this.
Well, clearly your mental training worked to get another ring. So congratulations again. Now,
Thank
Coach
you.
Eshe, you in some ways, like Coach Goodwin said, I know distance running there's a lot of individual performance required, obviously. So talk maybe about what your kids have been doing. What have our student athletes, our distance runners, been doing?
Yeah, so as we talked a couple minutes ago, when we finish the season, we just can't I think from a physiological point, we can't just stop training. Could shut it down. I had talks with a lot of my friends, and are you going to shut training down? Are you going to keep going? Like, what are you going to do? And we decided, and I made, let's finish all the way through. So we finished all the way through to the end of April. We cut it about 2 weeks short because normally this would be our conference championship week right now for track, for outdoors. But we cut it short. And so a couple things we did is instead of doing a distance trial, or a time trial, because we can't get on a track. You can't get on a track. And the wonderful watch, the wonderful Garmin watches are only so accurate to so much. And so you don't know how far it is, how fast you're going, all that stuff. So we actually did 2 12-minute time trials. And and you say, why 12 minutes? Well, it's a distance that you can't really measure. And so it's all about an effort. How far can you get? What can you do? And we did 2 of them. We did one, so we understood what the task was going to be at hand. And then we did one of them about a week ago to kind of see if we get further. And the girls did get further than they did the first time, figuring things out. But at least it's a competition thing amongst the team. I told them, I don't know, we'll buy them ice cream or, something when they get back. Something fun like that. And then right now we have dove straight. We took a week off and we dived straight into training for the fall. But before that, with some of these meetings, we've been having Zoom meetings. I think a lot of us as coaches have been having Zoom meetings with our team. And we brought in a couple of Olympians who have come talk to our team. Field. We had a gentleman from the University of Virginia that was the former director there, and he runs an Instagram page and part of a marketing group that's called World's Greatest. Phenomenal stuff. And he does interviews with everybody from people in Ajax and in the European League to just like Sage Watson, who's a Canadian national record holder and Olympian. So they were talking, they've come on the Zoom calls. Yeah, so they could just at least get somebody different, because people get bored with me talking. There's no questions about that. But right now, we are diving into cross-country training because on Halloween, October 31st, we host the first think the first cross-country championship UAB has hosted since 1994, 95. The first year that the UAB was in Conference USA was the first year that we hosted the conference championships, oddly enough, at George Ward Park, which if you looked at the park, you'd have no idea where everything goes. But it's where, if you want to know the start line, it's where the parking lot is now. So that used to be the start line for the cross-country course. So that's what our main focus is right now.
Yeah. Well, that's terrific, and sounds like a great experience for our young ladies to be able to engage with an Olympian, somebody that's done it at the highest level. That's awesome. So I want to switch gears a little bit now. I can tell you that I have done more projects around our house in the last 8 or 10 weeks than I have in 5 years, and and there's no comparison to that. And whether it's my wife or my children or myself, somebody finds something else for me to do to keep busy while I'm on a conference call or something like that. And so I'm curious, Coach Goodwin, what have you been doing other than keeping up with your team? What other little projects have you found yourself committing to over the last several weeks?
Recently, we've started pressure washing everything outside. At first, I just kind of cleaned and I went into super mommy mode and what does everybody want to eat? And then I've exhausted all that. And now I'm like, can the restaurants please open up so I don't have to cook anymore?
Right. Yeah, I found myself, I've trimmed a lot of trees. I've got an extended chainsaw, and it's easy to get too far. It's really easy to cut way too many limbs. And pressure washing is like that, pressure wash the sidewalk, now the driveway. What about the street? I'll pressure wash the whole street. Pressure wash the gutter and blow the gutter off your house. I mean, it's easy to do. It's easy to do. Coach Pauly, what about you? What have you been doing?
Cooking and baking, watching a lot of Netflix. Yeah. I think I'm the only one on the call that's not married or has kids, so I have freedom. Yeah, but I think I love to cook, so it's been really cool just to have some time to really do more advanced cooking recipes, which has been fun. And then to offset that, been doing all of Gunner's workouts. So I told my team that if they were going to work out, then I was going to work out, which I haven't trained like a volleyball player in a really long time. So the hips and back are definitely feeling it. I haven't jumped this much in a long time. But it's been, that's kind of how I've been adjusting small projects around the house, but nothing major.
Yeah. Well, now that the governor has released some of the shelter in place, maybe you're going to need to, after you do your next big baking event, maybe a trip over to the Ingram house would be worth your time. Because with all the working out you're doing, the last thing I want you to do is ruin it by eating a full cake by yourself.
So cake, is that the request?
Whatever it is. I'm sure it's we don't discriminate. We don't, we're not that particular.
I live about 4 blocks from Emily Clifford, my director of operations and my best friend, who has 2 girls, and then she just gave birth to Patrick, her newborn, who is just over a month old. And so anytime I make any sweet treat, I automatically bring half of it over there because I'm like, get this out of my house. I'm going to eat the entire thing. So that's kind of been nice, and I'm not consuming every single cupcake that
Smart. Smart. Though you are counterbalancing it with Gunner's workouts. So
and Gunner's workouts are pretty tough. So
I'll bet. How about you, Matt? What have you been doing?
Just like you, actually, I have projects, and some of them are the wife projects, but they're more my projects we wanted to do. Up and redid our fire pit. I only have, I was telling somebody how'd you build the fire pit and everything? And so actually, I just built the base of the fire pit because a couple of years ago, my parents gave us one of the, things you buy at Lowe's, those fake fire pits. And so we've got one of those on top. But the great thing about that is I actually went around with as much as I run. I went around and found the houses. When I was running, I found like this house is giving away all these bricks and this house is giving away these stones. So literally my bricks and my stone for my base, all free. It was the best, probably $20 fire pit I've had to buy. And the only reason I say $20 is because I went out and bought an extra bag of stone just to put around and make it look pretty. So yeah, if you guys want to come over, bring the cookies. I've got some other stuff we could probably enjoy too, and we can have fun. But yeah,
Yeah.
yep. I've actually laid yesterday. I redid a drain, laid concrete, did a whole bunch of the concrete work. I'm going to be putting some concrete into our railing because we live on a little bit of a hill. If you guys need hill work, come to my house. I guarantee you don't have to do much. We have some massive hills, and it is awesome. The girls actually come over in the fall in the track season to do 800-meter hill repeats, and so it's awesome. It's great. Yeah, they do. Trust me, it's a good little morning, and I don't even have to leave. I just roll out of bed after my run. But we put concrete. Yeah, we have to re-concrete our steps because last year for a water pipe, we lost about 15 bricks, and so I'm gonna have to do that this week. And so I've been doing a lot of those little projects, but next thing to do is to blow out part of the basement. I'm going to put a barn door in down here too, probably.
Wow.
All right, I decided.
That sounds like real work.
I will make the cupcakes and cookies if you guys all come pressure wash my houses and fix it.
I mean,
what kind of cookies?
Great.
Deals being made today. Smart. Okay, I want full disclosure. Full disclosure. Raise your hand if you've watched The Tiger King. Come on, Matt. Really? Come on.
Nope. No way on God's green earth. Nope.
What? Okay, Amy, you said you've been watching a lot of Netflix. What have you been watching?
I watched Tiger King. I watched all of Ozark. Great show. And then I watched HBO has a show called His Dark Materials, which is based on the Golden Compass books. I forget there's 3 books in the series. I liked that. It was a little like Narnia meets Harry Potter, which I'm not usually into, especially since I just said I watched Ozark, which is like the complete opposite of that. But it was pretty good. And then Westworld, Working Moms, Bravo. I could keep going.
Man, you've been putting some hours in.
Jeez.
Well, it's really easy to work. I always have something going on in the office anyway. So I feel like if there's not noise and stuff happening while I'm working, I'm not going to do anything. And so I don't know, maybe it just helps me focus.
Yeah, my kids have had me trying to watch this Netflix show called All American, which it's sort of like Beverly Hills 90210 meets sports. I don't know. What about you, Lori?
Well, we watched The Tiger King.
God bless you.
And I know, right? So I've just been, I'm more movies than TV shows. So just whatever movie's on, we've just been watching that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
I think I'm caught up on just about everything I missed during the season. So.
Well, good for you. That sounds productive, and it's you're right. You find ways to pass the time away. And on one of our other episodes of Blazer Insider, somebody said, every day feels like Saturday. It feels like you're working on Saturday every single day, and it's almost hard to figure out, is today Tuesday or Friday or Sunday, because it all just runs together, So I know that at our house we felt that way, and we've got 4 kids in school trying to work from home, and I've been reminded often why we send them to school and why I am not a teacher. Calculus left me years ago, and I don't want to revisit that. So I'm not much help to my children. But anyway, it's great to see you guys and great to see your faces. And I appreciate all of your hard work and everything you're doing for our teams. I know that we'll be back soon. Before we close, are there any parting comments or any closing comments from anybody? What about you, Lori? Any final words?
No, we're just ready to get back to it.
That's the truth. How about you, Amy?
I would say the same. I know I'm ready for it. I know that our student athletes are ready for it, and just excited for when they can get back. And I hope all of our fans are excited as well, because it's going to be a great fall season. Whatever the fall looks like, it's going to be awesome.
I agree. How about you, Coach Eshe? What do you got to say?
Yeah, no, we're just like both Amy and Lori said, we're looking forward to the fall. We're looking forward to getting back on campus. We see no reason why we won't be back on campus. We're training with that goal in mind, and we're just keep reminding our girls, like, hey, be safe, follow what's asked of you. And we're going to come out of this. If we do a lot of forward thinking and positive thinking, we're going to be doing a lot of good things. So no matter if it's a short season, if it's a normal season, we still have a championship to finish and to go after. So we can't rest.
Yeah, well, amen to that. And I know that everybody else would agree with all those things too. And that's our intention. We plan on being back on time this fall as scheduled. And if circumstances change, we'll adjust. But right now, that's where we're headed. And we're excited about that. And I know I speak for everybody in saying how much I appreciate all of our nurses and doctors and people on the front lines who are helping all of us to stay safe and our families and everybody else, and really putting themselves in harm's way every day. So I'm grateful to anybody listening who's got a family member that works in healthcare, or if you yourself does. We certainly do appreciate all of your hard work and everything that you do every day. So thank you. And for this edition of Blazer Insider, again, I'm Mark Ingram, Director of Athletics, and I want to thank you for participating and look forward to seeing everybody in person really, really soon. Thanks again, and go Blazers.